Altcoins are seeing a little bit of pain today. Ethereum back down to 4.3 and Bitcoin is closed. The CME gap exactly as predicted. So at least one thing to be excited about. We've been calling for the Bitcoin CME gap for the past 4 days. We posted this video and then we went on yesterday and talked about the bearish divergence forming on the Bitcoin 1 hourly time frame when the price of Bitcoin was at 122,440, and we said that the CME gap at 117 is going to close sooner rather than later. And we gave it a 95% probability. So that's what Bitcoin has done. I want to talk to you about what I think can happen next now that the CME gap is officially closed. What do I think about the macro-ish outlook for Bitcoin? What do I think about the price of, well, Ethereum, now that we're seeing this correction to 4.392? Is the correction going to continue? We drew some lines before. I want to elaborate on what those lines mean to everybody that missed out. And then obviously we want to clarify this Bitcoin strategic reserve saga that's been taking place since the past 24 hours, and we have a new development on that. So guys and girls, if that sounds interesting to you, then make sure to destroy the like button on today's video. You've been doing a phenomenal job over the past 2-3 weeks in general. We even hit 1,000 likes on one of our videos, so let's see if we can try and compete with that. And guys, if you want free VIP level 2 status where you can save 25% off trading fees on your account, then make sure to sign up to Weeks using the first link in the description down below to not only get a completely free $1,000 worth of an Ethereum trade, but also gets free VIP level 2 status in 24 hours time after you sign up to Weeks and trade on the platform that we are trading on. And I do have to talk about some altcoin potential corrections that we mentioned on Twitter a few days back also. Let's start off the show with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's still hovering above multi-cycle resistance. We did hit a brand new all-time high of 124,477 early last morning. But since then, we've corrected approximately $7,000. Bitcoin did fill the CME gap as expected. But like I said on the previous video, I actually don't think that Bitcoin will probably stop there. Look, I added a limit order to buy Bitcoin at the CME gap, and I overall think that it's a wonderful place to be DCing in to Bitcoin positions, because we've been buying Bitcoin since $77,000. And I just personally feel that this DCA point, for me, it's fine. I really don't mind. So this is the position that we opened. Our liquidation is at 106, so I think it's perfectly fine. For me, this trade is completely okay. We've been buying Bitcoin since 77K, and I just wanted to add a DCA at the CME price, so I'm fine with that. I'm comfortable with my risk management. So if you're not, then make sure to fix your leverage, because if you're anxious about a trade, it means your leverage is too high. I'm personally happy with this trade. I want it to DCA in, even if Bitcoin comes a little bit more to the downside. What is the potential downside target? Well, I think maximum pain point is around 114. I would be surprised if Bitcoin falls more than that, because the M2 money supply still is trending, well, ascendingly to the upside. So I would be surprised if Bitcoin got a larger dump. I wouldn't be expecting it. I think we will just gradually increase to the upside and then have a bit of an acceleration towards the final week of September and come to about the 135 to 140K territories. But after that, I think both the stock market and the crypto market will go into a correction. Since basically about 2009, the S&P has been in a secular bull run. Yeah, we've had our downturns along the way, but the overall parabolic trend never really broke to the downside. I think that's going to happen soon. I think we will follow what we did in the 1996 to the 2001 stock market's S&P price performance. We will slowly, gradually increase to the upside, just like the Bitcoin M2 money supply charts, and then start our descent, which I think Bitcoin will do too, and then begin our bear market. So this Q4 is really our only time to make as much money as we can, and then Q1 hopefully will be altcoin season, and then we have to pack our bags and wait for the next bull market. That's at least where I'm personally standing. So we need to maximize the upcoming half year as much as possible, because after that, down goes Bitcoin. So what will happen to altcoins? What will happen to Ethereum? So Ethereum price action, there it is. I think that Ethereum can actually come down all the way to $4,000. I really wouldn't mind that. I think it's completely normal. Remember, Ethereum is pumped by, even now, 76% in the past 2 months and up to 89% in the past 2 months when we were $50 away from all-time highs. So if you want to leverage your free $1,000 Ethereum trade when you sign up to Weeks with the first link in the description, then I would consider to put some limit orders at 4,000 and potentially 4,180, because if I remember correctly, those were the 2 points of high liquidity for Ethereum. Ethereum ETF's doing amazing, $639 million in, one of the biggest inflow days for the Ethereum ETFs. It was the 4th best inflow day ever. It will be interesting to see what the inflows or outflows will be on Monday, given the current price action for Ethereum. When we look into the macro for Ethereum, I mean, if you look at the RSI, we're nowhere near the overbought territory. You can see that in the previous bull market, when Ethereum was at similar price levels, the RSI was at 80 to 90, so massively overbought. That's not the case at the moment in time. I think Ethereum can continue to $8,000, so this pullback is, in my opinion, pretty healthy. Ethereum Bitcoin is forming a bump and run reversal pattern. I think this bump and run will take Ethereum eventually to $8,000. Altcoin season still far away. We have to go below 55%. From my standpoint for altcoin season, now is still a time to buy the dip, and we're still below the resistance line that's holding back a massive altcoin season. One particular altcoin that I'm super bullish on is Cardano. I realized this yesterday. We're literally mimicking the previous cycle of Cardano's price action on the current cycle. So look, you create an all-time high, you come down, you do a W formation, retest the neckline, and then Q4 of 2020, you absolutely explode to the upside, and then you start dipping and basically August Q2 of 2021. I think we're doing a very similar thing here, retest the W neckline, and I think we will see a massive increase. So I am personally adding to ADA in my holdings, and I really like how this chart looks like. The final thing that we will jump into before calling it a day is obviously updates on the reserve. So yesterday, Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, said, we're going to stop selling our Bitcoins. And that's giving an impression that they've already sold some of their Bitcoin. According to on-chain activity, the prediction for the American government's Bitcoin holdings is approximately $23 billion. But, Scott Bessent said it's between 15 to 20 billion. So did they sell like $8 billion worth of Bitcoin? We won't know until they do a full audit and a full publication. Scott Bessent also mentioned that they're not going to be buying any extra cryptocurrencies, only using confiscated assets. That's a complete 180 from President Trump's tweet or Truth Social post from a few months ago when he said that they're going to be doing a Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano strategic reserve. Now we've flipped into maybe not having a reserve at all. But thankfully, after that talk on Fox Business, I think Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent got a few phone calls, and he posted the following tweet. He said that Bitcoin is finally forfeited to the federal government and will be the foundation of the strategic Bitcoin reserve established by Trump in the executive order. In addition, the Treasury is committed to exploring budget-neutral ways to acquire more Bitcoin. I know this looks good, but I'm not so confident in it because this working group is supposedly they had to deliver some sort of way to accumulate Bitcoin in a budget-neutral way on this crypto reports. The 166-page crypto report, which it doesn't have anything to do with this budget-neutral way of accumulation. Bo Hines was saying that they were going to do it, but look, I think this could be very well forgotten. So the only hope we have for the strategic reserve, I think, is the SBR bill, which got introduced by Senator Cynthia Lummis. But the issue with this bill is that it's super hard to pass in Congress. So I don't know. Trump is probably going to lose midterms by the end of next year. And even if they do pass this bill to buy Bitcoin, eventually they're going to dump all their Bitcoin to pay off their national debts. That's the whole incentive behind it. So maybe it's actually better if they don't buy into Bitcoin. But guys and girls, that is it for today's update video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, destroy the like button for me and subscribe if you're not a crypto kid yet for daily cryptocurrency updates. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and as always, bye-bye.